Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Coffee and Headlines, our daily get together live here on Facebook, where we examine headline stories, comments, suggestions, and ideas that help us have a better life here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. It is always a pleasure to meet with you every day of the week live here on Facebook. Some of you catch the show later on in the day on YouTube or on Facebook. Regardless, it is always wonderful to connect, and it is always wonderful to see what's going on in your lives, what's going on in mine, what's going on around Puerto Vallarta, and so forth. I have to say that I already had my first moment of extraordinary lucidity earlier this morning when I set my tea kettle to heat water for my coffee in the morning, and then the tea kettle started whistling. I was working frantically here at the computer, making sure that I was ready for today. And as I dashed to the kitchen to stop the tea kettle because it was whistling loudly, I said, "Alexa, stop." So if you've tried to stop your tea kettle by commanding your intelligent speaker, please let me know so that I don't feel as stupid as I actually feel this morning. Well, I don't feel stupid, but it was kind of like, Paco, what are you thinking? Alexa may control a lot of things, but certainly not the kettle. Chef Cali says today is Dia de la Raza. Absolutely. I wonder if you know what Dia de la Raza is and why we call it that. Well, we're going to look at that later on in the program. Today, of course, is Monday. We are going to start as always, by saying hello to everybody that is here. And if you happen to be new to the broadcast, my name is Paco, and we'd love to find out more about you. So feel free to let us know that you're new by writing the word new in your comment. And if you have any specific question you would like us to address during the broadcast, it helps us a lot if you add the letter Q to your question or comment so that we can get to it. Look at all of you from all over the place. It is so nice to see you. Oh, Raymond, that is such a sweet comment. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, this is good news. Thank you, Christy. That smoke has finally subsided in San Mateo. Those fires, good heavens. John is in Amapas. Wonderful. Christopher is in Indiana. Welcome, Christopher. Trucha, of course, reminds us of the importance to invoke Pee Wee Herman or Pee Wee's Playhouse on a regular basis by saying "Mecca like a high, make a hiney ho." I love it. Anyhow, here we are, and we might as well get started on all the things that we want to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about COVID-19. We're going to talk about Dia de la Raza or Columbus Day. We're going to talk about some wonderful treats that I had the pleasure of trying at Poblanos, Michael Bufort's Mexican restaurant. He starts a new menu starting tomorrow. We're going to take a look at more enhancements that are happening near the Isla Rio Cuale by Marcela Lepe. And we're going to look at punctuality out of all things. So let's get started. John says, I have to stop using Alexa. My dog starts to howl whenever he hears her voice. I love it. Well, we love our intelligent speakers. Anyhow, let's dive into the news so that we can get on with the rest of the day. As always, we begin with the statements made by our governor, Enrique Alfaro. And to cut to the chase, no, we're not pushing the emergency button. We made it through another week. These are his words. We made it through another week. In the numbers for COVID in Jalisco for this week, the number of active cases per million inhabitants went from 360 to 348, but we're still close enough to the 400. And even though the hospital occupation is stable, we went from 19.3 to 21%. Despite the fact that we are the second largest city in Mexico, we're still one of the states with the lowest rate of mortality and accumulated cases. We are still on time. Let us take the path that we've been walking and let us avoid the emergency button and let us move forward with the reactivation of our economy. Does it start to sound all the same? Yes. The call to responsibility is for everyone, for municipal authorities, so that they will tighten up their vigilance in as citizens fulfill the protocols. The call is also for businesses to do their share and for individuals to look after themselves. Finally, he says, young people who are now the largest part of the active cases, we ask for your conscience and responsibility. Despite the fact that most of you don't end up in the hospital when you get sick, you are spreading the disease among the most vulnerable population, and this can result in the deaths of those that we love the most. So again, the governor is making an emphasis on the younger population that is going out and about without following the sanitary guidelines, and let us hope that the younger population will pay attention to this call. Looking at the charts, we see that indeed last week hospital occupation was at 528, and it went up slightly to 574 this week. And the number of active cases went from 360 to 348. So it dropped down a little bit, but we're still close enough to 400 for the governor to be concerned. This is the chart that shows us the accumulated cases. Once again, we are all the way down here, which is it is comforting to know. In as far as the active cases, we continue to be fairly close to the average for Mexico, and Baja California Sur continues to be the one state that has the highest number of active cases. And when it comes to mortality, we're still in the lower numbers. So these are the latest bits of information that we received from Governor Alfaro regarding COVID. Let me take a quick look at your questions. La, 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 la. Getting past the good mornings and all that stuff. ICAQ. What is my personal opinion of these official numbers? Do I believe them? Yes, I believe them, William, but I don't let them dominate my life. I know what I have to do, and I hope you know what you have to do, which is wear a face mask, keep safe distance, and stay home and don't go out unless it's absolutely necessary. So yes, I believe them. It's the numbers that we have. Then Amanda is asking, is Campeche green or back to yellow? Press conference said green, but map on Datos site shows yellow. I believe, although I'm not certain, that Campeche is green, but I'm not entirely certain of that. Casa Bellavista is right. Lynn is right. You know, this is not going to go away until we follow the 3 C's. Cocktails, cocktails, and more cocktails. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Can an American get COVID insurance in Mexico? I am not sure that I know the answer to that question. I know that Canada is offering travelers insurance to travelers if they book vacations through certain airlines and so forth and so on. But unfortunately, Mary, I don't have a specific answer to your question. Moving on with the headlines. Once again, Vallarta Opina tells us that this was a good weekend. A lot of foreign flights are starting to arrive. According to this article, we see that the first flight from Canada, the first WestJet flight from Canada arrived from Calgary this weekend. And we also see that United Airlines at some point had as many as 5 planes on the tarmac during the weekend. So we can expect that these numbers are going to continue to increase as we move forward into the fall and winter season. The official dates for whale watching have been released for 2020, and of course they vary from place to place. I'm going to focus on the dates for Puerto Vallarta. In Banderas Bay, it says here, here we go. In Jalisco, it is from December 8th to the 23rd of March. We reported as an early sighting of whales earlier, a couple of days ago, but the official times in which you can actually hire a vessel or go on a vessel to enjoy whale watching is going to be from December 8th to the 23rd of March. We also reported last week that the president's wife, Beatriz Gutierrez Müller, was in Europe fulfilling some responsibilities representing her husband. She stopped at the Vatican to visit with the Pope and delivered a letter from our president, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, to the Pope. And now we know that the contents of the letter is that our president is hoping that the Vatican will apologize to Mexico for conquering our country. This may sound unusual to some. It is a little unusual to me, I must say. But this is not the first time that our president is doing this. He has mentioned this in speeches that he hopes that at some point Spain will also apologize for conquering Mexico. Whether these things are important or not important or relevant or irrelevant, it's up for opinion, it's up for discussion. I'm just sharing the news. Michael asks, is today a holiday? Yes, it is a holiday for 2 reasons, Michael. Today, on this day in 1942, Columbus set foot in America for the first time. And today is the day before you start offering your brand new menu at Poblano. So it is a holiday today. I'm going to talk about the wonderful things that I was able to try at your restaurant in a little while. Let me see. Oh, this has nothing to do with Puerto Vallarta, but just so that you knew that this happens, I figured I would share it with you. Earlier last week or later last week, a few days ago, we reported of a local deputy who was exhibited for putting his girlfriend in the government payroll. And here we find out about a deputy from the state from the state of Veracruz who was caught having his son on the payroll as a driver for 15,000 pesos per month. So unfortunately, some politicians think that this is kosher. Of course, we don't think this is kosher, but that's just the way it goes. Let me take a quick look at your comments before we move on to talk about Dia de la Raza, Columbus Day. Yes, let us talk about Columbus Day. Interesting. In Oregon, it's Indigenous Peoples Day. See, the interesting thing about Columbus Day is that in the States, it is called Columbus Day. In Spain, it is called the Day of the National Fiesta, Día de la Fiesta Nacional. In countries like Chile and Peru, it is called the day when two worlds meet, del encuentro de dos mundos. But we know that it boils down to the fact that today was the day in which Columbus set foot in America for the first time. Check it out. The paparazzi were there to capture this wonderful image. And there he is. There is Columbus. There he is, setting foot in America. And I think to myself, why are historians so fucking cruel? I mean, look at Columbus. Let's look at him again. Look at Columbus. He looks like a balding old fart. Now, Columbus was 41 when he set foot in America for the first time. Now, I know a balding old fart because I look at myself in the mirror every morning. And I know that if I was a balding, well, I am a balding old fart. The last thing that I would want to be doing with my life is to be gallivanting from continent to continent on a little wooden boat. But, that's what historians do. They depict these guys as if they were old farts. Look at them all. They're just arriving in America. And that's what goes on. Now, why do we call it Dia de la Raza in Mexico? Well, we call it Dia de la Raza because of this dude. This dude is none other than Jose Vasconcelos. Jose Vasconcelos was Education Secretary for Mexico in 1925 when he published an essay called La Raza Cósmica, or the Cosmic Race. And it is an essay that he used to express the ideology of a future fifth race in the Americas, an agglomeration of all the races in the world with no respect to color or number to erect a new civilization. And he called it Universopolis, a broad universal race. So that's why El Día de la Raza is called El Día de la Raza in Mexico. The word raza is an interesting choice here because the word applies to breeds. For example, when we're talking about dog breeds, we talk about razas. And it also, of course, applies to races, So that's the whole history behind Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, here in Mexico. I am not an old fart. Oh, honey, you should have seen the winds that were happening this morning. It was windy and it was oldie and it was all kinds of things. Takes one to know one, says Christopher. Balding old fart. Yes, power to us. Absolutely. Anyhow, let me see if you have any other comments about this business. Your teapot is calling. I love it, Bev. Yes, it was. Was that noise the kettle? Did you hear something that I didn't even notice? Well, you see, when I moved the studio to the living room, that window, where is the window? That window over there, that's the street. So now when I'm here, you can expect all kinds of noises from my street to permeate into our broadcast. So I'm waiting for the day in which the gas vehicle will come by because I want to sing along with the gas vehicle. We know the gas song because we sang it a few months ago. We learned the gas song and we learned what it said. And Logan says it's the Garrafon guy. Maybe. I mean, I was so busy telling you my stories about old farts that I didn't even hear it. Gerardo says, I would like it if the UE, the European Union, would offer an apology to all the indigenous people of America and not to forget the monetary compensation. Well, wouldn't that be lovely? Doug offers an interesting bit of information about insurance for U.S. residents looking for COVID insurance in Mexico. Thank you very much, Doug. Let's see. There's another suggestion for insurance, guys. Thank you very much. La 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 la. Okay. Glad to join. I miss your comments on Mantamar, and in your notes they are in Mexican. Can you give me a quick update? Well, Robert, there's no such thing as in Mexican. They are in Spanish. Mantamar was fined. They were fined 20 something thousand pesos for doing what they did, and that's the end of that. And hopefully, that is the end of that. Moving right along, as I told you, this past Saturday, I was out and about walking around the Quale. You saw the interview that we shared about what's going on um, with the improvements going on in the isla. But we also know that Marcela Lepe, the daughter of a renowned painter here in Puerto Vallarta, is also doing some improvement in these lampposts along the bridge that goes over over the Isla Rio Cuale. This is Calle Ignacio Vallarta heading down, and it is nice to see how Marcela and her team are painting all these lampposts in a style that is reminiscent to the style of her father, Manuel Lepe, the famous naif Puerto Vallarta painter. And I wanted to show that so that you could take a look at it. I don't know if she's going to actually take over the entire walls of the bridge. Hopefully, that is the case because that would make for a very colorful, beautiful entry to Emiliano Zapata. Hopefully, that'll be the case. Paulina asks, is it true that Vallarta only has 100 emergency beds and very few air ventilators? I don't know. And I don't know the exact numbers. Actually, I don't know the exact numbers. Again, I choose not to pay much attention to the numbers, and I choose to pay attention to what I need to do to take care of myself. If it's really keeping you awake at night, Paulina, you can check in with Pam Thompson. Pam Thompson should have a nice answer for you and an accurate answer for you. Moving right along, as I mentioned, this past Saturday, Michael Beaufort invited me to check out some of the new dishes that he's going to start offering at Poblanos, his Mexican restaurant. We know that Michael has 3 restaurants in town, and one of them offers Thai food. The other one offers wonderful international cuisine called Bravos. And Poblanos is a Mexican restaurant. It is located right across from Parque Lázaro Cárdenas. And I accepted the invitation gladly because Michael and I are friends and because we've been collaborators for many, many years. It goes back to when I was the managing editor of Vallarta Lifestyles. Full disclosure, I was not paid to make these comments. I am sharing them because I feel it is important to say what I'm going to say. If I hadn't liked the food, I wouldn't talk about it. Simply because we don't want to put anybody down either. But it was nice. See, here's the thing. Okay, no. Let me show you the food first because we ate some wonderful things. They were really, really good treats. Michael shared with me a series of delicious quesadillas. I forget exactly which were which, but there were some quesadillas that were stuffed with marlin. There were other quesadillas that were stuffed with birria, which is not that common to find in an established restaurant. These are some sopes that we enjoyed very much. These are other types of quesadillas that came with a dipping sauce that were absolutely delicious. These were some fried taquitos, sometimes also known as flautas or flutes, that were very, very flavorful. And of course, there was also an aguachile. And aguachile, this aguachile is made of fish, and aguachile is similar to ceviche in a sense that it is cooked in lime juice and it is served with that juice on the plate with some diced cucumber and onions. And of course, it is garnished with pineapple, which makes the sauce wonderful because it's spicy and sweet. So, would I go back to the restaurant? Yes, I would. Why? Because it was wonderful Mexican food. I find as a Mexican national that sometimes restaurants that call themselves Mexican are not really authentic. They are more designed to please the palates of foreign visitors, and that's okay. That's okay. That's not something that I would choose. But in this particular case, this is a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant that I would certainly go back to. I would go back to Bravos because they offer some stuff that I'm familiar with and that you will be familiar with. But then they also offer dishes that are not necessarily familiar or not what you will find everywhere else, and that is absolutely refreshing. Michael, I wish you the best of luck with your new menu, which everybody can enjoy starting tomorrow. Let's jump into the weather, shall we? Well, it is 28 degrees. It feels like 33. It is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity is up again. What's going on, humidity? It is 87% humid out there. There's an 11% chance of rain right now. It drizzled a little bit last night, not very hard. It drizzled enough for the humidity to spike. And again, these days are going to continue to get cooler progressively until sometime towards the end of the month. Poof, the weather will just shift and it'll be wonderful. We can expect rain and humidity throughout the day today. Humid and partly cloudy tomorrow, and humid and partly cloudy on Wednesday. So this is all good news for us. And I have a few other headlines that I can share with you, but let me very quickly see if you have any comments or questions that I can address. Da da dee, da da. La, na, ni, na, 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 na. Looking at all the great improvements and colorful paintings around the Rio Colorado. Yes, I mean it's just so wonderful to see things changing all over the city, and this is really wonderful. Dean, oh Dean, let me hold your hand. Let me hold your hand. I don't know why people would be warning you not to come to PV. See, here's the thing, Dean. Oh, okay, you're in Chicago, fine. Okay, so in Chicago, I'm sure you have some set of guidelines and procedures and things that you're supposed to do. Puerto Vallarta is no different. You know, Puerto Vallarta is a place where we also have guidelines that we need to follow. And of course, it is unfortunate that we don't always follow those guidelines. Let me go back to where was this photograph. Oh, I did not even show you this image when I talked about the WestJet business earlier. We looked at this photograph from the airport, and let me tell you what the problem is, Dean Milano. The problem is this: when people come to visit, and they're not wearing face masks, and they come from Mexico, they come from the United States, they come from all over the place. Look at this: a bunch of happy boys having fun at a pub or a bar. None of them are wearing face masks. So you're choosing to travel here, Dean, is your choice. And when you do that, you can choose to be a responsible visitor, or you can choose to be an irresponsible visitor. I am sure that if you are a responsible visitor, you will have a wonderful time. Nobody will look at you funny. Nobody will frown upon you. And you will enjoy an amazing vacation. If you come here, and you don't follow the guidelines, then your friends will be right to warn you not to come here, because the truth is we don't want people here that are not following guidelines. So if you're coming to Puerto Vallarta and you're following the guidelines, then I am sure you're going to have a really amazing time. Let's see. Yes, that food at Poblanos has a great presentation, and that is part of the fun that Michael is having with his chef. That is absolutely good. Terry, I did not try any vegan choices, but I think Michael is here. Michael, if you can comment on vegan choices at the restaurant, that would be very helpful for people that are interested in this. Casa Bellavista asks, what was that called? That was called aguachile, and I put it on the screen right on my mouth. Aguachile. And it is similar to ceviche, and it is wonderful. Let's see. Brett, can I private message to you? I'm gonna feel jealous. No, I'm just kidding. Um, Dan Dowell asks, what is burris, which I think means birria? Birria is a beef or goat stew that is commonly found, it's commonly served as tacos or quesadillas. It is not usual to find it at established restaurants. It's more of a taco stand or informal eatery. So that's what makes it fascinating that Michael has chosen to serve birria at his restaurant. You will have to go and check it out, and I'm sure you will love it. And if you love it there, then you will feel more comfortable exploring the more traditional birria stands that we have here in Puerto Vallarta. So that's another thing that I like about Michael's menu. He offers one step beyond the comfort zone so that you can explore dishes that are less than familiar. Yay, bravo. Bravo, bravos. Let's take a look at your comments. Lots. Thank you for your comments. There you go. Michael says that there are veggie tacos and vegan dishes. Vegan dishes. So this is all good. Vegan dishes. I tell you, my mouth is all over the place today. But speaking of restaurants, check out this next interesting headline that I'm going to show you. According to this research or this survey, Puerto Vallarta is among the 10 top cities in which people are not punctual when it comes to arriving to restaurants on time. What do you know? This survey, published by Vallarta Opina, lets us know that the city where people are late the most is Michoacan, and that would be 31% of all the reservations. And in the last place is Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Puerto Vallarta, with 7% people that arrive late. I don't know how much those kinds of late arrivals affect restaurants. Personally, I always try to show up on time. I am more disturbed by people that show up late to the theater or the movies or to live shows and things like that. But that would be just me. Moving right along in terms of news that are totally useless, but we're going to share anyway, we find our dear Hugo Lopez Gatell, Mexico's health czar, in the middle of a love date. And of course, the paparazzi were there, and the headline says that he is sitting down without a face mask and without following safe distancing. Well, hello, how else are you expected to kiss your date? You can't kiss anyone with a face mask on. Anyhow, this is actually something that is from 2 days ago. And of course, over the weekend, there were all kinds of memes and things like that showing Hugo Lopez Gatell having fun. And I'm sure a lot of ladies were out there feeling jealous, and maybe some guys too. What do you know? Last but not least, I have a headline that has nothing to do with Puerto Vallarta. But, you know, if you are a fan of Stephen King novels and films, you'll be glad to know that the trailer for the latest version of The Stand is now available. The Stand happens to be my favorite Stephen King novel. It's huge. It's a chunky paperback, and I've read it like 5 or 6 times through my life, and it is time for me to revisit it again. The new mini, it's going to be a mini series. It's going to be available on CBS All Access, and it stars Whoopi Goldberg as Mother Abigail and a couple of other actors you will recognize. I will share the URL with you so that you can check it out on your own time as soon as we're done with this broadcast. A quick last minute look at your comments so that we can move on with our day. There's a question here, open for lunch. I imagine this has to do with Poblanos, and the answer is yes. Poblanos is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Michael, please correct me if what I said is not accurate, but I believe you can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Poblanos. Watch Taco Chronicles to learn about birria. Absolutely great idea. And I have scheduled in the list of things that I want to do is there's a great birria place near my home, and I am going to take advantage of that fact and go visit it and take some photos so that you can know more about birria. People asked about where that photo was taken, and yes, that looked like Mr. Flamingo indeed. Love the stand. Good for you, Dean. I love the stand too. It's a fabulous, deep, thick, immersive novel. Great book, and of course, it is absolutely essential to read again. Oh, great! More Stan fans. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Well, there's a new series. We can all look forward to it in December. I believe was the date in which the series is going to come out. Yes, I believe it is going to come out in December. We'll have to see what Captain Trips is all about in this new version of the novel. But that brings us to the end of the show today. As always, I hope you found something wonderful, inspiring, funny, or otherwise distracting about today's broadcast. If you did, please feel free to recommend Coffee and Headlines to your friends and your family and whoever wants to be connected with Puerto Vallarta. We have links on the screen. If you wish to become a supporter, be reminded that Coffee and Headlines is a community-funded project. We are here thanks to you. We are here for you, but we are here thanks to you. That's it for today. Stay happy, stay kind, stay hungry. Go get some nice birria somewhere and go visit Michael's restaurant tomorrow when they start offering this wonderful new menu. In the meantime, have an awesome day. Have a great beginning of the week, and I'll see you again tomorrow.